welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do my September book wrap up. I read 11 books this September. I still can't believe I read 11, but I've just been really enjoying diving into the reading world. The first book I read is Carnivorous Carnival by Lemony Snicket. This is book 9 in a series of unfortunate events. This follows the 3 Baudelaire children, Klaus, Violet, and Sunny, and their parents died in a fire. They get sent to live in these different people's houses, and we have Count Olaf, who is after them every single time. And I've been listening to this on audio, and I just love the sound effects and the narrator voices, and I'm just really enjoying this series. I will be finishing a series of unfortunate events this year before 2020. The next book I read is Princess in Love. This is by Meg Cabot, and this is Princess Diaries book 3. This series follows Mia Thermopolis, who finds out she is a princess of Genovia. It's really written in a diaries perspective, and you really feel like you're in Mia's head, and you feel like you're feeling all of her emotions and everything that's going on, and it's really quite a interesting page turner, even though in my opinion not a lot happens in the book because it's pretty much just normal teenage stuff and like how she reacts to it. But I've really been loving this series. The next book I read was 5 Feet Apart by Richelle Lippincott. This cover is gorgeous. So I've been wanting to read this book for a while now, and I started it as a buddy read with my mom, but unfortunately we didn't finish it together, and I just decided to finish it. But I loved this chronic illness perspective. This book follows Stella, who has cystic fibrosis. I did not know anything about cystic fibrosis until I read this book. I feel like I learned so much, and it really opened up my understanding for the illness. She spends so much time in the hospital. It's pretty much like she's grown up there. She has breathing treatments and pills and stuff that she always has to do on clockwork. She's very organized, and I feel like I could really relate to her on the organization side. And I'm also chronically ill, and I felt like I could relate to her in certain ways. Unfortunately, cystic fibrosis is normally terminal. I really felt quite thankful that my condition is not terminal, and I felt like you could really just feel what the patient was feeling and what was going on. It was such a powerful story. I think everyone needs to read it. Of course, there's a love story, and it's super cute, and I have to see the movie still. I've been waiting to see it. The next book I read is The Thousandth Floor by Katherine McGee. This book is dystopian meets Gossip Girl. As it started, I think I was like 100 pages in, and I felt very excited for where the story was going to go. I felt like I could really see the world, and I was so excited for all the crazy things that were going to happen because the dystopian building world was really written really well. Unfortunately, like 150 pages in, it started to go really slow for me, and I was kind of like, wait a second. Also, it's written in perspective of 4 or 5 different friends, so every single chapter is a different person. So if something happened in chapter 1, you have to wait till chapter 6 to see what happened. I thought this would be fine, but for some reason it quite annoyed me. So it was not my favorite. I thought it was okay. I feel like it was very long, and there's a whole series in it. So I don't know if I'll be continuing on the series since I didn't even really like the first book. But I like the idea of it. The next book I read is Stepsister by Jennifer Donnelly. This is the same author of the Lost in the Book, Beauty and the Beast book, which I've been wanting to read. I honestly don't even know what to say for this book. It's graphic and like things that you may not want to hear about, blood or animals dying, and I didn't like it. I read the whole thing because I didn't want to DMF it, and I really thought it was going to get better, and I felt like I was really confused the whole time. I love telling my mom about how my books are going, and I was like trying to tell her what was happening about this like spiritual journey, and I couldn't even explain it because I couldn't understand it. So yeah, that was not one of my favorites, not one of my likes at all. Oh, Stepsister follows Cinderella's stepsister as if she's the main character, and the story after her sister Cinderella goes off and becomes princess, and then we learn all about her life and why she's mean and all this different stuff. Next we have another A Series of Unfortunate Events book, and we have The Slippery Slope. This is book 10 in the series, and I love this series, and it makes me smile every time because I read some of it when I was little, and I'm so happy to be revisiting this series. Next we have Restore Me. This is book 4 of the Shatter Me series. I love this series. I love Juliet, I love Warner, I love Adam. I love that she's this powerful, supernatural kind of creature, but it's dystopian, and I just love this series, and this is book 4, so I'm not going to say anything about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm so happy I'm reading it, and I'm especially happy that I did not listen to everyone who said it was bad writing and it was a bad story, because I don't understand where the bad writing is, because I really like it. Next book I read is Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. This is the continuation of the Harry Potter series. This is like 20 years later when Harry Potter is a dad, and he has a son Albus and James, and then a daughter Lily, and this is a screenplay, and I'm actually going to go see it with my sister and my mom this October, and I'm so excited for the play. But the book was awesome and amazing too. Unfortunately, not sure if it was my dyslexia, but it's very hard for me to read in play form. Like it says Albus, da-da-da-da, James, da-da-da-da, and it's really hard for me to follow. So I think it took about 50% through the book before I finally caught on to it, but I really liked it, and I definitely think if you love Harry Potter, you should definitely try the book. The next book I read is Bloodlines. I love this series. I read this book years ago. I was waiting to buy the second book so I could read it. Now I've decided to read the whole series, and I just wanted to make sure I reread the first book so that I really understood what was going on, and I'm so happy I did. I love Sydney as the alchemist. I love the whole vampire world. We have the Mirai, the Sturgoi, and the Dahamfires. And I just love this whole vampire world. I love that the alchemists can do magic with vampires. I love that they're trying to hide the vampires from the human world. Honestly, it's an amazing book. I have not read Vampire Academy, but I love Bloodlines, and I definitely want to read Vampire Academy, but I am so happy to be reading this series. It's so amazing. Next we have Radiance by Alyson Noel. This is book 1 in the Riley Bloom series. This is a middle grade book, and it's cute. I really quite enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable read. It was an easy read. It's about a girl who dies, and she's in the afterlife, and trials and things she has to go through after the afterlife, but it's quite cute. The last book I read for my September books was The Golden Lily, book 2 of Bloodlines by Richelle Mead. Still loving this series. This is book 2. I'm actually on book 3 right now, Indigo Spell, but I love this series and I cannot wait to read more. That is all the books I read for my September book wrap-up. 11 books. Wow, I'm so proud of myself. And let me know in the comments how many books you read in September or how many books you read in October. Feel free to subscribe. I would love for you to join the family. Thank you so much again for watching. See you in the next video. Bye! What is it called? Dragonfires? Ed and...
I found this on the web from...